Hello and welcome to E-English class. I'm Vinod Kumar, a teacher from Kurnool district. Dear students, in last class we did slot number 2 related to a reading passage Attitude is Altitude from the first unit of 10th class English textbook. The second slot started at the last paragraph on page number 3 and ended up at second last paragraph on page number 4. When Nick was born, his father went out of the hospital room to vomit. 2. An international symbol of triumph over adversity. This was the reading slot. And today we are going to see the post-reading activity related to this slot. Before that, let us see what a post-reading activity is. The post-reading activity has 6 major steps. One is the identification of discourses from the reading passage. Number 2, choosing a suitable title or suitable discourse for the class. Number 3, discourse construction first by the individuals and then in groups. Number 4, discourse presentation by the groups. Number 5, discourse editing. Editing can be done in 3 stages here. One is self-editing. The other is editing in groups or group refinement, and the last one is teachers editing by the teacher. And the last step in post-reading activity is displaying the teacher's version of the discourse. So these are the 6 major steps that are there in the post-reading activity. Now we are going to look at only 1, 2 and 6 parts, 1, 2 and 6 steps. We are not doing 3, 4 and 5 because we are doing this online. There is no scope for individual construction and group construction and group presentation, so we are going to skip them. We will be doing only 1, 2 and 6. Now let us look at the first one, identification of discourses. After reading the passage, the teacher identifies some discourses from the reading passage. Here I identified 2 discourses. One is conversation, and under conversation I identified 3 situations where there is a scope for conversation. The first one is a conversation between Nick's parents when Nick was born. Number 2, a conversation between Nick and his parents about Nick being teased and bullied. Number 3, a conversation between Nick and his mother when Nick went and told her that he wanted to kill himself. So these are the 3 possible situations where we have scope for a conversation. And the second discourse I identified is a diary entry. Under this, there are 5 situations where we can try to write a discourse diary entry. First one is diary entry by Nick's father or Nick's mother after begetting a baby boy who was a torso. So either his father or his mother, any one of them, writing a diary entry about giving birth to a boy who was a torso. Number 2, Nick writing a diary entry about his feelings of agony on the day when he was teased and bullied. Obviously, Nick would have been teased and bullied every day in school, but we take any particular day and construct this discourse. Number 3, Nick writing a diary entry on getting a degree in financial planning and real estate on the day of his graduation. Feelings of Nick in the form of a diary entry. Number 4, Nick's feelings about his parents and their support to make him independent. And number 5, Nick's feelings after an unsuccessful attempt of suicide. When he was 10 years old, Nick tried to drown himself in the bath and wanted to kill himself, but that attempt was unsuccessful. So after the attempt, Nick's feelings are to be recorded in the form of a diary entry. Here I would like to say that some of the above situations may be suitable for other discourses also. It depends on the teacher's creativity and teacher's choice of identifying and choosing discourses for the class. In the first slot, I identified conversation, biographical sketch, and I took biographical sketch as a discourse, and in this session I would like to present conversation as a discourse. So let us see what a conversation is. A conversation is an informal talk between two or more persons. It is an informal talk about individual thoughts or individual ideas. We have another discourse called a dialogue, which is similar to this conversation. But the main difference between a conversation and a dialogue is that a conversation is an informal talk, whereas a dialogue is a purposeful conversational exchange between two or more people. I hope you understand the difference between a conversation and a dialogue. There is not much difference. Now, I would like to give you a model conversation taking one of the situations identified earlier. But before that, I would like to give you the parts of a good conversation. What are to be there in the good conversation? According to me, there are 5 important parts which will help us to write a good conversation. Number 1 is the opening, or we call it the beginning. Number 2, warm up or a conversation starter. Number 3, message. Number 4, wind up or pre-closing or rounding off. Number 5, closing or conclusion. Any discourse should have these parts to make it better than any other. So let us discuss these parts in brief. Let me take the first one, opening. Any discourse should have a proper beginning and a proper ending. What happens if you miss the opening in a film? You will not be able to understand for a while. And if the ending is not good, you don't like the movie. The same way, any discourse should have a proper beginning and proper ending. Here, greetings or salutation can be taken for the opening lines. Greetings like hi, hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, etc. can be used as the opening lines. But sometimes you may replace these greetings with a salutation like mom, dad, which are the names of relations with whom we speak, or calling the person by name like Nick, etc. So greetings or salutation can be used for the opening. Then the opening is followed by conversation starters or warm-up sentences. Warm-up sentences are the sentences that take us into the message, the important part. How are you? How do you do? How is everything? How is your day going? How is your life? Having a busy day? Any such sentence can be used as a conversation starter. This sentence starts the actual conversation and takes into the message. There is no hardcore rule that you have to use only these sentences. Any sentence that is relevant can be used. And now we move on to the third part of a good conversation. It is message or information. This is the main part of the conversation. What all we have to say is given here. So very, very important, and this does not have any particular format or pro forma. The main point, the topic given for writing the discourse is discussed here under message. It is followed by wind up or pre-closing sentences or rounding off. It's been nice talking to you. It's been great talking to you. I really enjoyed meeting you. It was nice meeting you, Mr. Nick. So, any such sentence can be used as a pre-closing sentence. Pre-closing sentences are the sentences we use before ending the conversation. It is your choice of using such sentences. Now, we come to the last part of a good conversation, that is a proper closing or a proper conclusion or conversation closures. Phrases like goodbye, bye-bye, see you again, see you tomorrow, see you on Sunday, good day, have a nice day, have a wonderful day, and good night, etc. can be used to close the conversation. These are the general phrases used for closing the conversation. I have given you 5 important parts, but I say it again, these are not prescribed. It is your own choice whether to use these sentences or any other relevant sentences. So after going through the important parts of a good conversation, let us look at a model conversation between Nick and his mother when he wanted to kill himself. We read in the reading passage that when Nick was 10 years old, he went to his mother and told her that he wanted to kill himself. Sorry, when he was 8. When he was 8 years old, Nick went to his mother and he told her that he wanted to kill himself. So, we are taking that situation and trying to write the conversation between Nick and his mother. Nick starts the dialogue or the conversation, and we can see his mother Dashka Uichi's response. Look at the sentences closely so that you can have a better idea on how to write a good conversation. Here comes a model conversation. Mom, I want to talk to you. What, Nick? Any problem? Mom, my classmates always bully me. Never mind them. They tease me every day. Nick, people are like this. You can't escape from them. So, learn to bear with them. I tried, but it's become intolerable. I can't bear this anymore. So, I've decided to kill myself. No, Nick, never do like that. Your father and I are there for you. We'll talk to your principal and solve your problem. Okay, Mom. I tell you again not to have such bad thoughts. We shall take care of this. Now, go to bed. Okay. Good night, Mom. Good night, sweetheart. So, this is a model conversation between Nick and his mother. In this model conversation, you can see that it started with a salutation. Nick calling his mother Mom, and then followed by a conversation starter, I want to talk to you. I want to talk to you is the conversation starter. And then we enter into the message, and the last 3 or 4 lines can be taken for pre-closing sentences and closing sentences. We shall take care of this. Now go to bed. This can be pre-closing sentence or winding up, and okay, good night, Mom, and good night, sweetheart can be the sentences used for closing this conversation. That is conversation closers. This is a model conversation, and you can excuse me if the intonation does not match the conversation. You may try this with proper stress and intonation. Now, let us look at the points to be remembered when you are writing a conversation. When you attempt any conversation, you have to understand the situation and the characters involved in it. For example, take the same dialogue between Nick and his mother. What is the situation there? Nick going to his mother and telling her that he wanted to kill himself. So this is the situation, and what are the characters in the conversation? Nick and his mother. So unless you unless you understand the situation and the characters, you will not be able to write a good conversation. And the second important point is that the conversation should be natural, It should convey the given information. It should not be lengthy. It should not be vague. Vague means unclear. And it should not be confusing. What happens in examinations? Many students attempt to write the conversation in 2 to 3 pages, which is not advisable. Conversation should not be lengthy. Not only conversation, any discourse should be precise, should not be very lengthy. What happens if you write a lengthy dialogue, lengthy conversation? The readers will get bored. And there is a chance for the writer to get deviated from the original topic or the given information. So, try to be very precise, up to the point. And another important point is that you have to use appropriate vocabulary. The vocabulary related to the situation. And the next important point is that you have to take care of grammar and its aspects. Tense, subject-verb agreement, etc. And the next point is that linkers and words of agreement or disagreement are to be used wherever necessary. You know linkers. Linkers join phrases or sentences. And words of agreement means yes. Words of disagreement like no, they may be used wherever necessary. Next point is that you have to take care of punctuation also, commas, full stops, wherever necessary. Punctuation is very, very important. You have to take care of punctuation also. And the last one is you have to avoid unnecessary words. And you have to avoid redundancy, repetition. So these are the points you have to remember. And one more thing about the length of the conversation. Generally in examination, there is a stipulation that you have to write a conversation in at least 5 to 6 exchanges. 5 to 6 exchanges, that would be enough. Writing more than that is not advisable. So 5 exchanges or 6 exchanges. That means in an exchange we have 2 sentences. If the conversation is between A and B, if A starts the conversation, B responds. So A and B speaking once, that forms 2 lines. Such exchanges should be 5 or 6 in the examination. So I hope you understand this and you practice writing a conversation, taking any discourse, any situation which is there in the reading passage. That's all for now. Thank you and see you soon with another topic.